Welcome to the northern shores of Lake Ontario and glorious Mosport Park for the 8th round of the American Le Mans Series Championship chase as Mobil 1 presents the Mosport Grand Prix. This man, Dindo Capello, and his teammate, 2000 champion Alan McNish, are poised to win another championship with Audi. The pressure on all the teams to perform is immeasurable, and the task at hand is made all the more challenging as we're at one of the world's most daunting racetracks.
Hello, my name's James Weaver, and I'm from England.
Butch Leitzinger, Reeversburg, Pennsylvania. I'm Lucas Luhr from Germany.
I'm Romain Dumas from France.
Hello, I'm Stéphane Sarrazin, I come from France.
I'm Pedro Lamy from Portugal.
Hi, I'm Johnny Molam from London, England.
Hello, I'm Stéphane Orcadi from Monaco.
Bringing him up is Leitzinger with Capello alongside, and we are green! Round 8 underway, Leitzinger leads, Capello tucks in, the Ferrari jumps in. Yeah, 3 cars right there, very close. Chris Dyson, who sat on the pole here with his first career pole last year, right there in the number 20 car, and a spin early by the 007, and that was on the pace lap.
That's unbelievable. That's Peter Cox there. He's been drafted in for this weekend, so he's made a mistake. He's got to make up to the team in a hurry.
Down into Moss, 5A, 5B are the corner numbers, but they call it Moss hairpin. And Leitzinger through, up the hill.
Well, let's take a look right behind the lead pair. You've got that Porsche there, the yellow machine, third in line. We're going to see how it compares with the P1 machines. You've got Chris Dyson right behind him, and here comes Pirro looking for a way by with that diesel power.
Oh, they very, very close, but he gets through, and you can see right there. And look at that, he's doing the double. He's trying to get underneath Floor, and he's made it. He has gone from 5th to 3rd. Pirro, a great, great run down the backstretch. And now let's check in on the goings-on at GT2. Mark Lieb replacing the normal co-driver in that car here, Hensler, and he is obviously his teammate for the event. Jonas van Overbeek is the points leader, but they've been sliding back in the order a little bit as Jörg Bergmeister's been launching forward. And look at the black bodywork on that red Ferrari. And yeah, they were borrowing from the 61 car just to get that car race ready here. As Andrew said, even though they've been fast, been a little sketchy at times.
Absolutely. They've been through the wars this weekend. They can't afford any further incidents in the race today. They've run out of bodywork, but a big move for the 45 machine. Getting Lieb up front. They are the championship leader, Johannes van Overbeek.
And we are getting word via radio that there may be a stop-and-go penalty on the number 3 Corvette for nudging the Aston Martin on that last turn of the pace lap. So a huge, huge blow to the number 3 if indeed that happens. Yep, there it is.
It's the hometown hero, Ronnie Fellows. I thought it would be Beretta in the 4 car. It's actually the 3 car that got into him there. So this is going to hurt. They're going to have to really use some smart strategy now to try and get Ron back in the mix today.
All right, and meanwhile, we have the number 50. Panos is into the tire barriers. And that is, Scott Maxwell, who this is a track that he knows incredibly well.
Here we go. There's McMurray diving to the inside. And just got a little too close there. Turned Scotty Maxwell around. That was a pretty brave move there. I mean, Scott was already protecting the inside line. But with Maxwell, look how narrow he is to the corner, and the 12 comes right down the inside and just punts him out of the way. 12 car spins, and I would assume that Justin Marks then got involved.
Green flag is flying. Leitzinger leads him away on the restart. The 2 Audis and then the 007 Aston Martin, which means that these guys have already lapped as high as 10th overall, and that is the speed of most people. Now, as we hop on board the number 7 of Lucas Luhr, right now he has gotten around the number 20 of Chris Dyson. They've been running very close lap times. He just didn't have the grunt down the straight to get by, but he found a way past. Welcome back to Mosport, everybody, and Butch Leitzinger leads, but in some serious traffic here right now.
Trying to get around the Corvette there. That hurt his exit speed just a little bit there off Moss, and there we see the 2 Audis in close pursuit. That's Dindo Capello, the first of the 2 silver machines. Run. He really does. Wow, look at that diesel power. Just moves to the outside. Butch will not like to see that.
No, into turn 8, so Leitzinger thwarted here, and Dindo just drove on by. He did get a little bit of help from a tow, and a little wide. Oh, Capello almost ran up the track.
He did. He got very wide there. Looked like he hit the apex, but then ran very wide, lost a lot of momentum, and Butch was by in a flash.
There comes the number 6 right there, Sasha Maassen. This is the battle for second in P2. Oh, the leader's coming in, and looked like Maassen may have had the opportunity, and then the overall leaders just swamped him.
Wow, look at this stuff. This is action at its best in the American Le Mans Series. Maasen's not giving anything away. Butch Leitzinger fights back to the inside. Looked like Dinder was about to make a move for the lead.
And Maassen did get by Liz, as she was the one who ultimately really got caught up in that group of P1 cars swinging through. And, oh, we've got a change as Capello able to get by Leitzinger. Leitzinger not going quietly, of course, but nonetheless, able to get through. Now traffic, yep, Butch was able to slide through.
Capello looks to the inside and just slides it down there. Once you're alongside, you no need to go quicker than the other guy. Just hold position, get back on the power.
Welcome back, everybody. The 009 of Pedro Lamy leading in GT1, working through a couple of cars involved in an intense, is the only way to put it, battle in GT2 right now. It's the battle for the 4th position in class. Marcel Thiemann in the number 23, Bell Micro, Alex Joe Porsche, and Villander in the Ferrari, the black Ferrari, and Calvin Franklin, while we were great, they got in a little shoving match.
They really did. Look at this down in the turn 10. Talk about optimistic there. Tony Villander just dives it over the curb there as Thiemann was trying to turn in. A little bit of bodywork flying there, and then look at the defensive move by Villander, absolutely forcing Thiemann all the way over to the pit wall.
And we're getting a report, a stop-and-go penalty is in the offing for the number 61 Ferrari. Now, I'm sure his argument will be, well, scratch that, here comes Butch Leitzinger. You just see up front, his team car is left. Brian?
Butch Leitzinger brings the number 16 in. Does not look like they'll do a driver change. In fact, he's staying in the car. It'll be fuel, and I believe they'll leave the Michelin tires on. Routine stop for Butch Leitzinger. Capello stops on his marks, steps out. McNish, the seat insert goes in. Alan McNish behind the wheel of the Audi R2. Very quick service here. Tires going on. Little slow with the left rear. Butch Leitzinger just going down the back straightaway, and McNish is underway.
Corvette on your left, Corvette on your left, you're clear.
Capello must have done a great job in those laps when he stayed out on track, because Leitzinger should have been up to speed immediately. Yes, he would have had a full fuel load. And here he comes, coming on the front straightaway. It's a very long pit exit here before you can get it up to speed. This is going to be very close.
Number 16 in turn 1.
There he is, but he has cold tires. If Butch is going to pounce, he's got to make it quickly. Here we go. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. That is hot tires versus cold. Let's see if Butch can get on the power. He needs a gap. No traction control, remember. Once the car is straight, Alan McNish will use full power here. Butch needs to make a move here within this next lap. Otherwise, Alan McNish will be back in the rhythm and be up to speed.
Fire in the 37, Brian.
The hell is the fire extinguisher guy?
Is the car, and you can hear him saying, "Where's the fire extinguisher?" The problem is the brake rotors on this car red hot, so just dry powder is only going to extinguish the fire, but it's going to come back. They need to use cold CO2.
And here's the GT2 leader, Brian.
Mark Lee brings his Flying Lizard Porsche in. Johannes van Overbeek will be taking over the seat here. Remember, Van Overbeek, 3 finishes over the last 3 races, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so they're really heading the wrong direction, while Jörg Bergmeister has been finishing 2nd and winning races. The championship lead now down only to 9 points. As you see Mark Lee helping Johannes with his belts.
And Guy Smith is on a flyer. Guy is absolutely lapping at a tremendous pace right now and has gone around Vila and picked up 3rd overall, I believe.
The 20 car is hooked up right before Chris Dyson pitted. He ran a mid-8, and Guy Smith is now eclipsed that mark, so the 20 car is really hooking up as we're getting some rubber down here. Remember, we had a lot of rain here this weekend.
While we were in a commercial break, there was some pretty interesting action that was going on with McNish and Butch Leitzinger. Check this out.
On board with Butch, slicing down the inside of one of the Panos in GT2.
Oh.
Again, McNish made the mistake that Capello did. Got very wide through 1, got on the painted rumble strip. And look at this, Butch Leitzinger slices to the inside for turn 3. How does McNish respond? That was for the lead.
But then, 1 lap later, watch this.
Butch gets balked, and look at that. McNish, in a flash, goes by. Just good, clean racing again by Butch Leitzinger this afternoon. He doesn't want to do anything dodgy and block. Just let Alan McNish go, but once you let Alan McNish get in a rhythm, he's just taken off.
Left rear corner, sorry, that is the 45, our class leader, Van Overbeck, and points leader in GT2. This is huge, Cal.
This really is. This is dramatic stuff. He's going to lose several positions here. He has to be patient. He has to get that car back to the pits without doing any further damage. But anything over about 60, 70 miles an hour will do that. Look at the trend here. 3 podiums, then a 4th and a 5th. In fact, they had 5 podiums to start the season. And just recently they've lost their mojo just a little bit, but today looked like they had it back.
Yeah.
Mark Lee taking the lead. This is a bad break for this team.
Alan McNish to pit road. I don't really understand this stop. He'll take fuel. I'm sure it's just time. They'll fill it just over an hour to go. About an hour and 5 minutes. It seems to be routine. And meanwhile, Butch Leitzinger has taken over the lead.
GT2, second place car is in. This is a problem. This is unscheduled.
Bergmeister brings it in, and the crew looks to be very concerned, grabbing some tools.
And that's the new leader in GT2 now. The Ferrari assumes the lead with Johnny Molan, but this is big championship implications too. The 31 car was second in points. They would have assumed the lead the way things stood right now without this pit stop over the 45, so big problems there.
And the 37 comes in, field again, so problems for that car.
Here we see Guy Smith. He's the new leader with that pit stop by James Weaver. And the 20 car, he needs to stop though. The car's right behind him. McNish and Weaver, they do not.
Now that stop you alluded to, Calvin, happened while we were in break. Leitzinger brought the 16 in from the lead, turned it over to Weaver. And it was not a stop that went all together very smoothly. Problems, as I don't think the nut came out of the gun. Watch this.
Puts the nut on, then he realized he's got a nut in the gun still. The nut stayed in there.
The leader in ALMS competition from Mosport on pit road, Guy Smith, sits in his Lola, fuel only as Alan McNish flashes by the front straightaway, takes the lead, but Guy Smith back underway. And the fastest race lap in the last round from the American Le Mans Series, can he catch Alan McNish?
And can he get second place over his teammate James Weaver? That's going to be tight as well as everyone cycles here and completed their pit stops.
Glenn's back on. Meanwhile, here's Weaver on board, and he's well back yet at the run down the Andretti straightaway, and he had actually gone down a lap. So Weaver, really right now, these guys need a caution of some sort to work out to give them any kind of a break right now.
They do. That pit stop with the fumbled wheel change there really cost them dearly. So look at the rear corner. Look at Biela's car there. The right rear quarter panel right behind the wheel is missing.
A little help here?
Look, that's the 7 car. That's Dumas.
Bet.
He does. He clips him pretty good there.
McNish just put Biela down a lap, but you know, you'd think, okay, how's it affecting the car now? But he didn't look that quick before him.
No, it doesn't seem like they had quite the pace of the number 2 car. And here you see McNish. Just needs to be careful. These guys on a roll here. They've had 5 victories in LMP1 this year. Looking for this 6. Just really get a throttle hold on this prototype crown.
GT1 leader on pit road. Andrew?
Yes, I'm here. They're going to put a fresh set of Pirellis on here. They just put the fuel in. Everything seems to be going absolutely fine. And Stefan Sarrazin from France is staying in the car. So certainly that's looking very good for Aston Martin here in Canada.
There is the number 4 of Ollie Gavin, the CompuWare vet. And right now that car is shown to have a pretty decent lead, but the question is, do they need to make a splash? And actually, the lead that they had, that has shrunk rather noticeably from the last time we looked at the monitor. And the reason is Gavin just turned a 1:18.5. Sarrazin throwing down 1:15s.
20 minutes here, so he's got about 55 minutes on those tires, and that's pretty lengthy load.
This could be bad. This could be bad news for Gavin because he really, as Biela came screaming up the inside, Gavin had almost come to a stop as Biela came through, and this may be the shot for Aston. Here he goes. Sarrazin swings wide. 3 abreast down the Andretti straightaway, and Sarrazin just blows by. He's clear now into the brakes. He had enough of a margin that the Corvette brakes and handling not able to counter that, and we have a new leader in Sarrazin. Boy, I tell you what, that is some straight line grunt. And boy, I tell you what, we have something that is developing here. This doesn't help it, but Guy Smith 3 laps ago was 20 seconds behind McNish. Last time by, 16 seconds. He is closing in, and we've heard some radio traffic that McNish is saying that he's struggling.
He's struggling possibly with tyres. We're going to check into that, but he may be searching for grip a little bit. Remember, he didn't take tyres on that second stint, so he's going to attempt to go about an hour and 30 or so on this one set of Michelin tyres, which is really putting a heavy load on that and really testing Alan's skill in managing the tyres. You've got to really not overdrive the car. Remember, you need something for the last 5 minutes. That's when the race is won.
Alan McNish into turn 8 at the end of the Andretti straightaway. 2 corners to go for McNish and Capello, and a clinch in the championship if it finishes as it is. McNish onto the front straight, comes to the wall, and the guy who's going to love this the most is Dindo. He gets his championship, assuming that Smith comes through. He did. In the final margin, though, 2.7 seconds. Here's your leader in GT2, and Johnny Molam off to a rough start in that car early in the week in testing, but he and Ortelli bring it home. Different colored body panels. They went through a lot of car to get the win, but they got the win, and that's key. Over the team car, brought home by Maurizio Mediani. Here comes the number 7, Romain Dumas, and picks up the win.
Flag, checker flag. Good job, guys.
That will boost...
that put Lucas Lowe on a tie with Sasha Masson in the P2 points, and here come the Aston Martins.
Sarazan, the 009, is the class leader. Gavin, 42 seconds back. So this one, another great day for the Aston Martin program as they swing onto the front straight. And Stefan Sarazan.
Yeah, mate. Good drive. Excellent.
And there you have it. The 4 classes are all complete. When we come back, we'll visit with our winners.
Alan McNish, Dindo Capello, the 6th win of the season. It brings you and Dindo the Drivers' Championship. Alan, it's your second, the first for Dindo. Which one is more important, the one for you or delivering one for your friend?
To be honest, we delivered it together in 2000 and we delivered it together this year. That's the one thing about Dindo and I. We work really well as a team when we support each other. But to be honest, today the whole team did a really good job. Champion, Audi and Dindo was superb at the start.
I'm a Romain Dumas. Romain, you won P2, but you didn't really mix it with the Audis today.
Yeah, it was difficult. I have to say, I was thinking that it was possible to be more close, but Audi were really quick, also the Dyson, and really now we are really focused in our championships, the LMP2. So it was difficult to take a risk. Just the target was to win the class 1-2.
Johnny Molam shows up, guest driver, and guess what? You take the victory. How sweet is it?
Fantastic. I mean, I didn't really do anything at all, I have to say. Stefan Ortelli drove a perfect first stint, kept out of trouble, kept the 2 cars in front within sight. We got lucky, I think, with the Flying Lizard, had a puncture or something, but I got past Rocky in the 23 car. Then they told me I was leading by 40 seconds from our sister car, and at that point, I think my grandmother could have driven that car home.
Well, what a fantastic drive, and congratulating Pedro Lamy here. Look at the... If you can get your crash helmet off. Oh, you missed the podium.
Yeah, I'm very happy. It's a long time ago we didn't win, and there was a big problem last few races. So I'm just really happy. It's fantastic for the team. Team did a great job, very good job. Car was really fast, so it's a very good day for us.